Nice opinion. Just one tiny problem with it. Inspecting your post, it looks like your opinion is different from mine. Let me tell you something. I am the baseline for opinions. Any opinion I hold is objectively correct, and as a result, any other opinions are wrong. Guess what? You happen to hold a wrong one. I hope you know that your opinion is now illegal. I have contacted the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the Navy SEALs, Secret Service, and your mom. You'll be sorry you ever shared your opinions. By the time you're reading this, you'll be done for. Nature will punish you. Humanity will punish you. Supernatural beings will punish you. Space will punish you. We decided just to make sure we'll nuke your house from orbit, so there's no chance you can run away. Everyone will know you will die. It's a small price to pay to remove your wrong opinion from this world.
Oh, hurrah! Okay, so review this. All right, so we're going to, since there's not really anything to talk about per se, we're just going to, I guess, react to some videos. Real guarded, what I usually do talk about, or maybe if there's nothing else, we can react to some music videos, maybe, or we can find something. I don't know. It's just a whatever stream where I'm just gonna react to this, and then we'll continue on from there. So let's start.
9 became 8, then 8 became 5. And that wasn't the only thing they had to face. Yet they kept going with something to hold on to. This is Froma's 9. 22 girls stood on the Idol School stage, knowing only 9 would debut. The show ran through the summer of 2017, with weekly votes deciding who stayed and who went home. By September 29, the lineup was set. 9 trainees were chosen to debut, bringing together different strengths and personalities. What connected them from the start was not just the outcome, but the shared beginning they were about to step into. From the beginning, their name carried meaning. Froma's 9 held 2 ideas at once. From Idol School, marked where they came from, and in Korean pronunciation, it echoed the word promise. It tied their start to a responsibility, not just to debut, but to grow along.
Avatar movies are made using 3D computing tools to create a 3D presentation.
I don't care about freaking Avatar.
Alongside the people who believed in them. On the 17th of November 2017, they released Glass Shoes as a pre-debut single. It introduced 9 girls stepping into the public eye before their official start, offering a first glimpse of the promise they intended to keep. Their official debut followed on the 24th of January 2018 with... The mini-album reached number 4 on the Korean chart. The concept felt bright and youthful, carried by a natural energy that felt sincere. Behind the scenes, however, things were less simple. Management sat with...
I mean, to be fair, is anything that simple? Usually not. I would wager, especially if you look at other groups and other things, that usually the behind the scenes is a bit dark or not as simple as it looks on the outside, which looks perfect. Everything's simple.
Stone Music Entertainment, while training and creative direction came from Pledis Entertainment. With responsibilities split, uncertainty followed.
Wait a second. I was right. I was told they weren't Pledis. In a comment section, I was right. They were Pledis. I was proven right. Ha!
Decisions.
Also, they didn't respond when I asked what company they actually were, if they're not Pledis, so...
took longer, and direction felt unclear. Even so, the debut landed. People noticed them, and the promise, once just a word in their name, had finally begun. Just months later, the first challenge arrived. In May 2018, Gyuri left to compete on Produce 48. Froma's 9 continued as 8, releasing DKDK on June 5 through their 2-day EP. For the first time, the members took part in writing lyrics together. Even without all 9 present, there was a growing sense of togetherness. The album reached number 4 on the charts once again. The numbers held steady, though the group felt incomplete. Another shift followed in September. Management moved to off-the-record entertainment, their second change in less than a year. Along with it came Gyuri's return. She finished her time on Produce 48 without joining the final group, and Fromis 9 stood together as 9 on stage again. Then the 10th of October 2018 changed everything. Love Bomb was released as part of the From 9 single album, and critics immediately called it a masterpiece. They praised the song for its balance of brightness and catchiness. The choreography felt natural. The delivery felt confident. Early responses were positive, with stable streaming and strong support from fans. The wider public, however, did not fully follow at the time. There was no sudden breakout, no major music show wins to mark the moment. Over the years, Love Bomb would grow into something bigger, recognized for what it had always been. But back then, it remained a quiet reminder of how close Fromis 9 stood to wider recognition. By 2019, Fromis 9 had found a steady rhythm, even as wider recognition continued to lag behind their effort.
Just wanna have some fun!
Fun arrived on June 4 through the Fun Factory single album, reaching number 2 on the Korean album chart. It marked their strongest results so far. Ha Young and Jiwon co-wrote the B-side Fly High, showing their growth beyond performance alone. The music felt tighter, their stage presence sharper, and their chemistry undeniable. Even so, the results stayed familiar. No music show wins on major broadcasts. There was still no single moment that shifted them from a growing group into a firmly established one. The waiting carried into 2020. In September, Feel Good Secret Code was released as part of the My Little Society EP, bringing a different sound and concept. The pandemic had changed the industry, with digital promotion replacing live stages. And during promotions, Soyeon stepped back due to a leg injury, and the group performed as 8 for a time. Fromis 9 adjusted, like many others, yet wider recognition remained just out of reach. Around the same period, something strange happened with Love Bomb. 2 years after its release, the song started circulating online. Fans returned to it. New listeners discovered it through recommendations, and the track suddenly had a second life. But that success felt bittersweet, a recognition for old work, while newer releases continued to face a quieter response. May 2021 brought. It stayed true to the group's bright energy and was well received by fans. Once again, the reception felt solid, but major wins did not follow. Another shift came in August 2021. Marking their third company changes in 3 years, Fromis 9 transferred fully to Pledis Entertainment.
See, I was right. Maybe unless they aren't there anymore, then maybe I'll be proven wrong.
The thing I've noticed about football fans is they all talk like the players can actually hear them.
Proud of you.
But when you have Geico Insurance...
Management, training, and direction finally sat under one roof. Stability at last felt possible. September 2021 delivered the moment they'd been waiting for. Talk and Talk won on the show, giving Fromis 9 their first music show victory on a major broadcast. The members cried on stage. 1,627 days had passed since their debut. More than 4 years of waiting, working, and holding on to the promise behind their name. The tears carried relief and reassurance. They reflected the weight of time and the belief that staying together still mattered. Yet even with that first win, the numbers told a familiar story. Chart performance remained modest, and the wider public had yet to fully catch on. The promise stood halfway fulfilled. Fromis 9 had shown they could endure and succeed. The question of how far that promise could still go remained open. January 2022 opened a new chapter with DM and the Midnight Guest EP. The sound felt more mature, shaped by years of experience rather than rushing. Their growth showed clearly, and their reputation as fourth-gen summer queens began to take form. This time, the charts responded more strongly. Recognition grew at a steady pace, and momentum finally felt real. Then everything paused. Just before their June comeback, 5 members were involved in a car accident. The showcase for Stay This Way was canceled. There were no serious injuries, but recovery took time. What should have been their biggest release of the year suddenly felt less certain. Even so, they returned. Stay This Way was released on June 27 as part of the From Our Memento Box EP. The response reflected how far they had come. The album reached #1 on the charts, the first time Fromis9 had stood at the top. Music show wins followed, more than once. The song carried the brightness they were known for, while reflecting how much they had grown. After years of steady work, the results finally aligned with the effort behind them. For the first time, the promise felt close within reach. Then the 31st of July 2022 brought difficult news. Giri left the group. When Fromis9 moved to Pledis Entertainment in 2021, she remained under a separate 1-year contract from Off the Record Entertainment, while the other members signed longer agreements. When that period ended, she chose not to renew, deciding to focus on acting. 9 became 8, formations changed, harmonies shifted, the group had to find balance again. The loss hit hard. Still, they continued. Another test followed in October, when Serum and Soyeon both took time away for health reasons. At different points, Fromis9 performed with 6 or 7 members. The group that once promised to grow together now had to honor that promise while adapting again and again. They did not step back. Each stage, each performance, each return showed the same choice being made. Fromis9 kept moving forward, not by ignoring setbacks, but by working through them. The promise they carried did not weaken under pressure. It held, even as the shape of the group continued to change. The 5th of June 2023 marked a milestone that had been building for more than 5 years. Unlock My World arrived as Fromis9's first full studio album, led by the title track. The song centered on honesty and self-expression, fitting the weight of releasing a full album after years together. All 8 members took part in writing the closing track, Eye Contact, showing involvement that extended beyond the stage. Critics responded to their growth, pointing out how their sound had developed while still feeling familiar. For the first time since Giri's departure, all 8 members promoted together. The group felt whole again. Their chemistry came through naturally, and their confidence higher than ever. The following summer brought a turning point. The 12th of August 2024 brought and Fromis9 reached a new level of recognition. The song climbed to #2 on the Circle Digital chart, their highest position to date. For the first time in their career, they entered the Melon Top 10, reaching #10 with more than 100,000 daily users. 4 music show wins followed. Billboard later named Supersonic the 8th best K-pop song of 2024, marking a moment of global attention they had not experienced before. 7 years after debut, after company changes, lineup shifts, and long stretches of waiting, they had finally broken through. Supersonic became the summer track they had always been capable of making. Their reputation as summer queens now had numbers to support it. They performed at waterbomb festivals for the first time, reaching audiences who might never have discovered them otherwise. The momentum felt steady, built on years of work rather than a single moment. Then the 29th of November 2024 arrived with news no one had expected. Pledis Entertainment announced that contracts would expire on December 31. After finally achieving the breakthrough they'd worked toward for 7 years, Fromis9 faced a decision about their future as a group. The 23rd of December 2024 brought From as their final release under Pledis Entertainment. The song worked as...
Okay, so I was proven wrong. That actually, they used to be under Pledis, but aren't anymore.
both a thank you and a closing note for that chapter. More importantly, it marked the point where a difficult decision could no longer be avoided. Sejrom, Jisoo, and Soyeon chose not to continue. 8 became 5. For the first time, the group that had endured so much faced the real possibility of ending. After 7 years together, and their biggest success behind them, stepping away would have made sense. No one would have blamed them for calling it a success and moving on. Instead, 5 members chose to continue. On the 26th of January 2025, Hayoung, Jiwon, Chaeyoung, Nagyung, and Jihan announced they had signed with ASND, a small startup agency with no big history. There were no guarantees waiting there. Each of them had other options, safer ones, paths that would have required less risk, but they chose to stay together. The challenge ahead was clear. A new agency meant rebuilding from the ground up, from staff to promotion to distribution. The industry offered plenty of examples where restarts like this did not last. Then the 26th of March 2025 brought an answer. ASND acquired the Fromis9 trademark, placing ownership of the name in the hands of the members themselves. The promise that began in 2017 now belonged to those who had chosen to carry it forward. In the 25th of June 2025, brought their first comeback as the new Fromis9. From Our 20s was released with the title track. Their first release is Fine. The song held on to the brightness fans recognized, while reflecting the changes behind it. On July 4, they won on Music Bank. It was proof they could still stand on the same stages, still compete, still be recognized after everything had changed. That comeback meant more than numbers. It showed that their promise was not tied to comfort or certainty, it was tied to choice.
Dang nabbit.
July brought even bigger news, their first world tour, Now Tomorrow. Their Seoul shows on August 9 and 10 sold out. US dates were revealed on July 1, followed by the Asian leg on July 23. 8 years after debut, Fromis9 had grown from a survival show group into artists meeting fans around the world. On the 2nd of December 2025, they released White Memories, a remake of Kim Min-jong's classic song. The winter release felt...
Which I did react to this, actually. I think last week or something.
Felt right. A quiet gift for fans who had stayed with them through every change. 8 years in, 5 members strong, Fromis9 were still making music, still standing together, still keeping the promise. Most groups make promises they struggle to keep. Fromis9 made theirs in public. Chosen through votes, tied to a name that literally means promise, and asked to grow under the eyes of everyone watching. It took 1,627 days to reach their first major music show win. They moved through multiple companies, lost members along the way, and reached their biggest success just as their future came into question. At every point, there was a reasonable way out. Each setback offered a moment where stopping would have made sense. Still, they continued. Not because the path was easy, but because the promise mattered more than the easier path. 5 members chose to rebuild from the ground up with an unknown agency, not out of pressure, but out of belief. 8 years later, through changes, losses, and quiet persistence, Fromis9 showed what that promise truly meant. Not perfection, not speed, just the choice to keep going together. Fromis 9 dared to be bold. Will you?
I mean, I guess that shows that easy or not everything's gonna be easy, and it's sometimes it doesn't success isn't straight away, but sometimes you have to steadily do it. So, right. So let's see what we got here. All right. Okay, let's. What was I looking for? Oh, here we go. Let's see. All right, so let's see. Wait. Okay. Try to think. I guess we can, look at this real quick. Let's actually take a look. Oh, let's do this one actually. Oh, she's muted. Okay. Okay, here
Super
we go.
Junior actually debuted as
Oh, again, also, probably three of these videos will be in the description, like I did last time.
a temporary 5-year project group, but they survived every challenges, carving the path K-pop itself would follow. And today, as they embrace their journey, the global K-pop stage welcomes them back.
I mean, they're probably one of the original SM groups. I think it's that and NCT and a few others. Obviously, Girls' Generation would be another one. You know, so probably SM Entertainment would probably not be around, or probably be not known as the big three if it wasn't for Super Junior, maybe.
This is Super Junior. In K-pop, 5 years is an entire era itself. Most early idol groups never even reached that milestone. The industries was designed for fast cycles debut, peak, fade, replace. Super Junior was supposed to be the same. When they debuted on the 6th of November 2005, the name itself carried an expiration date, Super Junior 05. The 05 was a countdown. SM Entertainment's rotational concept meant members could be cycled in and out based on performance, popularity, metrics. No one could predict. 12 young men took the stage that day. Each brought different strengths, from vocals, dance, and rap. But the public didn't know what to make of them. 12 members felt excessive. The rotation concept felt gimmicky. Their debut single, Twins, Knockout, dropped the same day. The performance was sharp and synchronized. But the question hung in the air, louder than the music. If the members were meant to rotate, how long would any of them stay? Behind the performances was something the audience couldn't see. The weight of wanting it more than anything.
저는 연습생 기간이 5년이었었고 누구보다도 데뷔를 하고 싶었었고 누구보다도 성공하고 싶었었고 그러다 보니까 TV에 많이 나오면 사람들이 날 봤을 때 저 친구는 성공한 친구야 라고 생각할 것 같았어요. 그래서 무조건 저한테는 일.
They had trained for years. All that time carrying the same hope. That debut would mean arrival. That visibility would mean success. That the uncertainty would finally end. The 25th of May, 2006, Kyu-yoon joins as the 13th member. But the real game changer wasn't just the addition of a new face. It was what SM announced along with it. The rotational concept was dead. Super Junior 05 became simply Super Junior. Permanent. There was no big press conference explaining why the experiment had succeeded or failed. The change happened quietly, as if SM realized that instability wasn't a sustainable model. That groups need foundations, and fans need something solid to hold on to. Kyu-yoon's arrival
I mean, instability usually doesn't work.
marked the moment the group stopped being a test. He was the youngest, still raw, learning choreography on shortened timelines. But his vocal tone filled a gap they didn't know existed. And with 13 locked in, the members could finally exhale. But permanence brought a new kind of pressure. When Super Junior prepared their second album, in 2007, SM considered adding even more members. Henry was meant to join the main lineup. The plan was to keep expanding, keep rotating, keep the concept fluid.
2집 앨범 돈돈 때 그 헨리가 이제 저희 새 멤버로 들어오려고 했던 상황이었었는데 팬들이 저희 사무실 앞에 모여서 슈퍼주니어 도대체 몇 명이냐 슈즈란 멤버의 인원을 정해달라고 하면서
But the main group's 13 members were set. In an industry where most idol groups lasted 2 to 3 years before disbanding, Super Junior had just committed to something longer.
Hold on to your hats, folks. Ready for World Cup and you would not believe what these guys are up to.
Who's coming in the driveway?
All right.
When You released on the 6th of June 2006, something changed.
Oh, this one.
The song was softer than their debut, emotional, built around harmonies instead of punch. The music video showed them in clean suits, choreography that emphasized unity over individual flash. The Korean public responded. It charted well, won music show awards, establishing that Super Junior wasn't just a gimmick group. They could sing, perform, and adapt. The 20th of September, 2007, brought Don't Don't, with completely different energy. Traditional Korean instruments blended with electronic beats. The choreography was aggressive, but the industry still had limitations they couldn't control.
그 당시에는 다인원을 소화할 수 있는 방송국의 능력이 안 됐었거든요. 그러니까 최대 방송국의 마이크 개수가 7개까지인가 그랬었어요. 그래서 마이크를 못 받는 멤버들도 참 많았었고요. 신동 같은 경우에는 마이크를 한 2년 뒤인가 3년 뒤에 받았어요.
Korean music shows weren't equipped for 13 members. Studios had 7 microphones, maybe 8. Some members performed without mics for years. Then came the 12th of March 2009. Sorry. Instantly recognizable. The beat was repetitive, infectious, designed to be stuck in your brain and refuse to leave. The choreography looked effortless. A sidestep, hand movements, formations that required precision timing across 13 members. Number 1 in South Korea, it spread across Taiwan, China, Thailand, and Vietnam. YouTube views climbed into the millions when K-pop's global footprint was still new. The song became a phenomenon, covered by other idols and danced by fans who didn't speak Korean but knew every beat. This was the moment Super Junior stopped being a domestic success and became something bigger.
I mean, this was also before Gangnam Style and BTS even. Gangnam Style before Gangnam Style released, probably before BTS made their first song. So this was still new before people actually knew what K-pop was.
And it wasn't just the song, it was everything they had been building around it. The subunits started forming. Super Junior KRY focused on ballads, showcasing the vocal line. Super Junior T did comedy-driven concepts. And then there was Super Junior M. On the 8th of April 2008, Super Junior M debuts in China. A localized unit designed specifically for the Chinese market. They relocated to China for extended periods. They released songs in Mandarin, navigated a market that operated differently from South Korea's idol system. The album Me dropped in 2008 and it worked. Super Junior M charted, sold, built a fan base distinct from Korean elves, but just as dedicated. But adaptation had its own costs. On the 21st of December 2009, Han Gang filed a lawsuit against SM Entertainment. The reasons were complex. A contract that spanned 13 years and was deemed unilaterally disadvantageous, health concerns after being denied sick days, and alleged discrimination regarding opportunities compared to Korean members. The lawsuit dragged on. The group continued without him, but his absence created a fracture impossible to ignore. Han Gang was one of the original 12. His departure was the first major crack in the permanence SM promised when they dropped the rotational concept. Still, Super Junior M had to continue. The early Super Show tours started during this period. Super Show 1 launched in 2008, followed by Super Show 2 in 2009. These were arena-level productions. Multiple costume changes, live bands, solo stages, and unit performances. They toured across Asia, Seoul, Bangkok, Shanghai.
Taxes is feeling unwelcome. Now Taxes is an open door to new TurboTax stores. Meet our experts. They do your taxes, so you can walk out with confidence. Now this is Taxes.
With less burning, itching, and pain from moderate to severe.
Taipei. Each city sold out. Each show proved the same thing. There was hunger for K-pop concerts beyond music show performances and fan meetings. Super Junior was building infrastructure. They didn't know it yet, but they were setting the standard every K-pop tour would be measured against. On the 19th of April, 2007, a devastating car accident occurred on the way back from a radio show recording. Lee Tuk required over 150 stitches, while Kyuhyun was in critical condition, with a fractured hip and broken ribs that punctured his lung. Doctors initially gave him only a 20% chance of survival. He returned to the group after months in the hospital, but the accident lingered, not in headlines, but in the way the members carried it. The awareness that everything can shatter in a single moment. The early 2010s brought more fractures. Kang In's drunk driving incident in 2009, another in 2016, multiple assault allegations. Each one chipped away at his public image, created tension within the group, forced conversations about accountability and reputation. Kiboom quietly distanced himself. He didn't officially leave, but his participation faded. By 2015, he was effectively inactive. No drama, no announcement, just absence. Sungmin's marriage in 2014 became controversial in ways that shouldn't make sense. The backlash was severe enough that Sungmin stepped back from group activities. Not permanently, but enough to fracture the lineup further. And then there was military service. The members rotated in and out of service over an 8-year cycle. While some served, others released subunit music, did solo activities, kept the name visible. The Korean music market was shifting during this period. Second-generation K-pop groups gave way to third-generation acts. EXO debuted in 2012 and exploded. BTS debuted in 2013 and started building momentum. The sound was changing, production getting sleeker, global ambitions getting louder. Super Junior was no longer the breakthrough story. They were the established act, the veterans, the group that had been around long enough to be taken for granted, but they adapted. The Super Show tours didn't stop. Super Show 3 in 2010, Super Show 4 in 2011, Super Show 5 in 2013, Super Show 6 in 2014. Each tour stretched longer, covered more cities, pushed into markets K-pop hadn't fully penetrated yet. They performed in Paris, Sao Paulo, Los Angeles, full-scale productions. The shows were long, solo stages where members showcased individual skills, unit performances highlighting different dynamics. Other groups started measuring their concerts against Super Show. The multi-unit structure, the solo spotlights, the encore length. Billboard took notice. International media started covering K-pop concerts, not as novelties, but as legitimate global events. Super Junior wasn't the only group touring internationally during this period, but they were among the first to prove it could be sustained year after year. And they were doing it while rotating members through military service, while dealing with lineup changes, while navigating scandals and public scrutiny. The discipline required to maintain this was invisible to audiences, but it was there. In rehearsals, in coordination across time zones, and in the willingness to keep showing up, keep performing, and keep building something larger than any individual era. The Super Show tours were proof that K-pop could travel, could scale, could become a global touring system instead of a regional phenomenon. When Devil was released on the 16th of July 2015, the sound was darker than anything Super Junior had done. It featured trap-influenced production, distorted vocals, and a music video leaning heavily into gothic imagery. It was a tonal shift. They were exploring what a veteran group could do when they stopped worrying about staying young. The 6th of November 2017 brought Play, marking the group's return after most members completed military service. The sound was playful, lighter, nostalgic, in a way that didn't feel forced. The choreography was relaxed, leaning into experience and swagger. The 12th of April 2018's Replay continued the pattern. Steady releases, no hiatuses longer than necessary, no pressure to reclaim chart dominance. The strategy during this era was quiet but clear, consistency over reinvention. While the K-pop industry accelerated, with faster comeback cycles, more elaborate concepts, groups debuting and disbanding within 2 years, Super Junior maintained their own pace. They released music when it made sense. They toured when the lineup allowed it. Their subunits thrived during this period. Super Junior D and E became one of K-pop's most successful subunits, releasing multiple albums, touring independently, proving smaller configurations could sustain careers. This is how you survive past your commercial peak. Not by chasing what's current, but by building something durable enough to outlast it.
I would say that's drama and music show things. They wear makeup for like the stage lighting mostly, so you can like see the face is more visible. I would say it's more stage lighting makeup than not. Luckily, my face has good enough complexion where I was required not to need stage lighting makeup or would wear any at all. So I'm lucky I never had to do that.
When The Renaissance released on the 16th of March 2021, it had been years since a full group comeback with this many members active. They weren't pretending to be the group they were in 2009. The sound was mature, the visuals were polished, and the choreography was adapted for bodies that had been doing this for 15 years. There was no pretense of competing with fourth-generation groups on raw energy or youth. The competition was different now. It was about legacy and quality control. The Road series, including subsequent releases like The Road Winter for Spring and the full album The Road, continued the era. They didn't stage a dramatic comeback because they never truly left. It was a continuation of their story. Super Show 9 launched in 2022. The production was massive, with larger stages, more elaborate sets, the kind of budget that comes with being a legacy act. The shows sold out, not just because of nostalgia, but because Super Junior was still a relevant and highly sought-after live act. In June 2024, Super Junior launched Super Show Spin-Off, Halftime, a concept inspired by alternate reality storytelling and the Super Bowl halftime show. Unlike their regular tours, the setlist featured fan-favorite songs spanning their entire discography, rather than focusing on their latest release. Then came 2025, their 20th anniversary year. On the 8th of July 2025, Super Junior released Super Junior 2.5, their 12th full-length album. Express Mode, an up-tempo club pop track, served as the title track. The release was timed perfectly with the announcement of Super Show 10, their 20th anniversary world tour. Super Show 10 kicked off at Seoul's KSPO Dome on the 22nd of August 2025. The opening night was broadcast live to cinemas worldwide. By the 13th of September 2025, at the Jakarta stop, Super Junior performed their 200th headlining concert, a milestone no K-pop group had reached before. The tour was scheduled to run through March 2026, covering 16 cities across multiple continents. The transformation was complete. They were no longer idols. They were senior artists. Their name carried weight in the industry, respect from junior groups, and recognition from the public. A legacy that didn't need defending. What does 20 years in K-pop mean? The standard idol contract is 7 years, and most groups disband when it expires. Even successful groups struggle to maintain relevance past a decade. Super Junior has been active for 2 decades. They're still here, still releasing music, still touring, showing up. The K-pop system is built for youth, for constant renewal. Super Junior is proof that longevity is possible anyway. They don't look the same as they did in 2005. The lineup has changed. The sound has evolved. The industry built after them is unrecognizable. Super Junior didn't invent K-pop, but they shaped what it became.
같은 것들이 동아시아 쪽에서 아주 폭발적인 인기를 얻었던 것으로 이야기가 많이 되고 있는데
그 당시에는 뭐 K-팝이란 말도 잘 안 썼던 것 같기도 한데 이걸 확산하는 데는 슈퍼주니어가 굉장히 큰 공을 세우지 않았나 싶네요. 그러니까 사실 이 K-팝이 지금 여기까지 오는 데는 여러 가지 단계가 있었지만은 1차적으로는 한국 밖으로 나가는 게 데미안으로 얘기하면 알을 깨고 나가는 거였을 텐데 깨고 나가면 일단 바로 만나는 건 동아시아니까 그 동아시아까지 확장시킨 데는 당연히 슈퍼주니어가 굉장히 큰 역할을 했고 부인할 수 없죠.
Every innovation they tested became standard practice for the groups that followed. When EXO debuted with separate Korean and Chinese units, the groundwork was already laid. When BTS built a global touring empire, the infrastructure existed. When NCT launched with rotating units and city-based concepts, someone had already proven it could work. Super Junior carved the path. The industry walked it. The global K-pop system wasn't built overnight. For 20 years, Super Junior stood at the front of that evolution, carving a path that the industry would eventually walk. 20 years later, they're still performing, still releasing music, still proving that groups can last if they're willing to adapt without erasing what made them matter in the first place. Super Junior dared to be bold, will you?
All right. That means one more video.
Wavy's story has always moved with pressure behind it, from their fast start in 2019 to the years before everything slowed. Their comeback, Eternal White, is the release that makes their past years make sense. This is how 6 years of change shape the Wavy today. In 2018, SM Entertainment made a calculated risk. They assembled 7 young men under a new subsidiary called Label V, with one goal: to create NCT's China-based unit, Kun, Ten, Winwin, Lucas, Xiao Jun, Hendry, Yang Yang, and the group name Wei V. None of them had debuted together. Some had trained for years, waiting. Others were newer, unproven. The company saw potential. The members saw a crucial opportunity. But here's what nobody says about pre-debut. It's not about whether you're good enough to be noticed. It's about whether anyone will care. The group chemistry wasn't instantaneous. It had to be built through shared dorms, late rehearsals, language barriers smoothed over time after time. They weren't friends yet. They were colleagues united by a common deadline and a powerful, shared ambition. What held them together was simpler than passion, the ambition and the knowledge that this was likely their only chance. On January 17, 2019, their debut digital EP, The Vision, was released. It featured a sleek, sharp concept and precise choreography, highlighted by their lead single Regular, which is a Chinese version of an NCT 127 track. The message was clear. This group would operate differently, managed by Label V as a self-contained force, primarily for the Chinese market. The industry took notice, and fans responded with immediate curiosity. The EP's tracks all placed in the top 10 on the Billboard World Digital Song Sales chart, a notable achievement. But curiosity is the beginning, not the end, of building a loyal fan base. The nervousness was real. WayV was entering a crowded field with no established fan base, no track record, and a strategy that navigated the increasingly complex relationship between the Korean and Chinese markets. In early 2019, the vision of a successful China-based unit still seemed like a bold yet possible gamble. The 9th of May 2019, Take Off arrived fast and loud. The music video featured racing sequences and sharp cuts, choreography built on synchronization over individuality. The concept was deliberate. Move with such speed and precision that no one could pause to question the group's sudden arrival. The track blended EDM with high-energy hip-hop, featuring strong lead vocals and rap verses delivered with a growing confidence. The song succeeded by forcing constant motion, giving listeners little time to analyze. The reception was strong, topping QQ Music popularity charts and iTunes across Asia. International fans that was already familiar with Ten and Win through prior NCT activities began paying attention. Domestic Chinese audiences were harder to crack, but curiosity was building. At that point, WayV was no longer a theoretical project. They were a performing, active unit. But here's what the momentum hid. They were still figuring each other out. Synchronization was tight because their practice was relentless. Stage presence was uneven because some members commanded attention naturally, while others were learning in real time. That rawness became part of the early appeal as fans felt they were watching a process of growth. What they were truly mastering during this intense phase was crucial skills of how to show confidence when you are still uncertain, how to operate as a single, cohesive unit despite 7 individuals having different instincts, and how to present a polished result while it was still under construction. Skills that would matter immensely when their journey faced unexpected challenges later on. Just 6 months after their debut project, on October 29, WayV returned with their second mini-album, Take Over the Moon. The shift in style was immediate. Where Takeoff was a sharp, kinetic display of force, this comeback embraced a more dreamlike, ethereal quality. It featured slower pacing in the visuals, intimate close-ups, and softened styling. The choreography balanced fluid, expressive movements with their signature hard-hitting formations, showcasing versatility. The album included Love Talk, a track that would become one of their most streamed and beloved internationally. Moonwalk served as the primary performance showcase, while tracks like King of Hearts leaned into a polished pop sound. The group's identity was rapidly sharpening. Cinematic visuals, polished execution, and emotional depth beneath the powerful performances. By the end of 2019, WayV had released 2 mini-albums and transitioned from an experiment to a legitimate, functioning group with undeniable momentum. Fan engagement increased, streaming numbers climbed, and international tour dates began booking. They had made a place for themselves in the competitive K-pop and C-pop landscape. This is where most stories would conclude with a simple message of success. But momentum is deceptive. It feels like validation. like proof that the risk was worth it. What it actually is borrowed time. The faster you move forward, the harder it is to notice when the ground beneath you is shifting. They didn't know yet, none of them did, that the markets they were bridging were already pulling further apart due to evolving political and regulatory landscapes, that a single allegation could freeze everything they'd built. In late 2019, the future looked clear. That was the most dangerous part of all. On the 9th of June 2020, WAVY released their first full-length album, Awaken the World. The lead single, Turn Back Time, became their most significant release. The concept was alternate timelines, regret, and second chances. The irony of those themes wouldn't become clear until much later. The production quality on this album peaked for the group, featuring high-budget CGI and parallel universes colliding in the music video. The physical album release was delayed by 9 days due to outfit issues, but the digital album and title track still saw commercial success, hitting #1 on iTunes in 21 countries and charting well across Asia. The album showcased range from Bad Alive and Stand By Me.
Yeah, if I stand by you, will you stand by me?
Turn Back Time saw the group regularly perform on South Korean music shows, expanding their international recognition. Tours were in the planning stages, and endorsements were coming in. While the pandemic complicated logistics, the group adapted with online concerts and digital promotions, and their momentum held strong. By the end of 2020, WAVY had proven they could carry a full album, deliver high-quality content, maintain fan engagement through difficult circumstances. They won international awards from the Mnet Asian Music Awards and Asia Artist Awards. Everything was pointing forward, and it should have been their breakthrough year. What they didn't know, that this was as high as it would get for a long time. The album was called Awaken the World.
Need a cold drink.
And its message was about second chances. They were documenting their peak and their future struggles simultaneously, without realizing it. On the 10th of March 2021, Kickback dropped with confidence. The concept was bright, energetic, and built for summer, with colorful styling, playful choreography, and retro arcade aesthetics. This era felt like a genuine celebration. 2 years in, WAVY had built solid momentum, a dedicated fan base, and creative confidence. Kickback performed well commercially, becoming the group's first #1 album on the Gaon album chart and their best-selling first-week album at the time. Action Figure became a fan favorite, and Good Time leaned into pop style. Promotional activities ran smoothly, and members' chemistry was visible and natural. The group looked comfortable. That's what everyone remembers. How comfortable they looked, how sustainable it felt. Future comebacks were expected, and plans were in motion. The experimental project was running smoothly. Kickback marked the last major release before everything changed. At the time, no one knew. The momentum felt permanent. That's how it works. You never know you're living through the last good day until it's over. And then the silence began. August 2021. Everything stopped. Allegations regarding Lucas's personal conduct surfaced online. SM Entertainment released statements, and Lucas issued a handwritten apology announcing he would halt all scheduled activities to reflect on his actions. The specifics don't need retelling here. What matters is understanding what happens to a group when the momentum disappears overnight. Lucas went on indefinite hiatus. WAVY didn't disband, and the remaining 6 members continued under the name, but group activities became sparse, with no comeback announcements or tours for a long time. Then, China's entertainment industry faced regulatory shifts, stricter content guidelines, and increased scrutiny on idol culture, as well as limits on performances and broadcasts. For WAVY, a group designed specifically to bridge Chinese and Korean markets, These restrictions directly narrowed their promotional opportunities in their primary target market. Here's what that actually means. 6 people who had spent 2 years building something together suddenly couldn't do the thing they'd been training for. The group didn't end. It just froze indefinitely, with no clear path forward and no timeline for return. Fans didn't know if WayV would ever return. Months turned into a year, with no official statements about the group's future, just scattered solo activities and silence. Every other SM group continued regular promotion while WayV exists only in the past. This is what survival actually looks like. Not fighting back or overcoming the obstacle, but just existing in uncertainty. Working on individual things while the main group project sits frozen, waiting for permission to continue that might never come. WayV finally returned with their 4th mini-album, Phantom, on the 28th of December 2022, nearly 2 years after Kickback. The comeback arrived with 8 tracks and a title song that used Phantom as a metaphor for overcoming adversity. The group returned as a 6-member unit, and while Lucas's absence was initially noted through 6 silhouettes and teasers, SM Entertainment formally announced his official departure from both NCT and WayV in May 2023, months after the album's release. Phantom marked a significant shift in tone. It was dark, dramatic, and theatrical. The music video featured shadowy corridors, Victorian-era styling. Compared to the energetic group from Kickback, this was something heavier and more mature. The choreography reflected that weight, with more deliberate, grounded movements. Reception was complicated. There was immense relief that WayV had returned, sadness over the lineup change, and appreciation for the new artistic direction. Phantom didn't pretend the hiatus hadn't happened. It acknowledged everything through its powerful sound and visuals. Here's what the Phantom comeback actually was. A test. Not for fans, for themselves. Could 6 people who'd spent 2 years working separately still function as one unit? Could they rebuild trust that had fractured during silence? Could they even remember why they started? On the 1st of November 2023, WayV released their 2nd full-length album, On My Youth. The title track was a poignant ballad, focusing on gentle piano, strings, and front and center vocals. The concept centered on memory, nostalgia, and the weight of time passing, utilizing home video aesthetics and grainy footage of members alone in quiet spaces. This was the most vulnerable WayV had ever been, publicly. Lyrics spoke openly to loss, reflection, and growing up under pressure. The focus shifted entirely to emotional delivery, with many fans describing the album as heartbreaking but beautiful. On My Youth arrived as more than just a comeback. It was public confession. The group had spent 2 years largely apart, navigating individual struggles and industry changes. This release acknowledged that difficulty instead of rushing toward an artificial sense of normalcy. Critics noted the group's maturity, and fans responded with overwhelming emotion. The real impact was psychological. WayV was no longer trying to prove strength, but embracing honesty. The shift from proving themselves to understanding themselves had begun. This era represented the hardest part of survival, the aftermath. Most groups don't do this. They rebrand struggle as triumph. They package pain as growth and move on. But WayV chose differently, showing that survival can feel exhausting, not victorious. When the 5th mini-album, Give Me That, dropped in June 2024, the shift was deliberate. While On My Youth processed the pain, this release was about moving forward. It was bright, confident, and built for summer, with a funky pop dance title track featuring an old-school drum beat and infectious brass. The concept was simple: reclaim the stage and enjoy performing again. The production was upbeat, the hooks catchy, and the choreography was designed to highlight precision and synchronization. The styling was bold with vibrant colors, and the members looked genuinely comfortable. The weight of their struggles hadn't disappeared, but it no longer dominated. Give Me That performed well commercially. The group earned their first ever music show win. The discourse shifted from, will WayV survive, to what's next for WayV? Towards the late 2024, WayV brought their sixth mini-album, Frequency, a softer follow-up that explored the essential theme of connection. The title track blended electronic elements with acoustic instrumentation, creating a clean, spacious sound with room to breathe. The focus remained on storytelling through movement and strong vocals, including a pre-release single titled High Five. This album marked their third consecutive release without member Winwin, who was on hiatus for Chinese drama filming, but the remaining 5 members continued to work as a steady unit. Frequency solidified the pattern of consistent releases and exploration of different sounds, proving the group was functioning as a stable working unit. The album broke the group's first week sales record and earned them several more music show wins, demonstrating that trust and fan engagement were being rebuilt through consistency rather than spectacle. This era represented the understanding that survival is about showing up repeatedly, even when it's not a grand gesture. The work itself became the point, and the connection between members and fans became the ultimate goal. The summer of 2025 arrived with the release of their 7th mini-album, Big Bands, on July 18. The energy was immediately apparent. Bold, confident, and loud, with vibrant brass instrumentation and jazz elements dominating the track. A brighter and fuller sound than anything since Kick Back. This release felt like a genuine celebration. The music video showcased vibrant colors, dynamic camera work, and playful styling. The choreography returned to high energy and sharp movements. The group looked revitalized. Big Bands marked something significant. The first time since the hiatus that WayV released something purely fun without an underlying weight. No processing, no rebuilding, just the members enjoying performing together at full capacity. The differences was noticeable. Fans widely described it as liberating. Promotional activities ran at full scale. Interviews, behind-the-scenes content, fan meetings, and including music show appearances where they achieved a first-place win.
After you work out, you can feel worn out. Reach for core power and rise to a whole new level of
win with the track Big Bands. The group's schedule looked normal again. This era of their long-running journey represented permission to feel joy again without guilt. The group had proven they could overcome uncertainty, process difficulty, and return stronger. The 8th of December 2025 marked the release of WayV's first ever winter special album, Eternal White. The concept is deceptively simple: freeze time. Not to escape, but to remember. 6 years had passed since their debut with The Vision in 2019. 6 years of momentum gained and lost, members leaving, restrictions faced, solo work during separation. The slow, uncertain process of reuniting, the rebuilding of trust, and the decision to continue. The lyrics express a strong determination to break through frozen time like a white winter and keep moving forward endlessly. And the music video features winter aesthetics, focusing heavily on powerful choreography within minimalist, icy sets. The album includes tracks that explore the full emotional range of their journey. The 5th Season, an R&B song featuring a resonant melody and rich a cappella arrangement, which lyrically captures the wistfulness and longing felt when time seems to stand still. Moment in Time continues the dreamy R&B atmosphere. The tracks First Time explore the delicate excitement of new love, and the symphonic ballad Lover After Me showcase the mature regrets of past love. The introspective Strange Tears uses unique piano to explore the process of growth through confronting one's inner confusion, while the English song Stay capturing the honest, subtle emotions of growing closer to someone. Each track in this album serves to build a comprehensive narrative of survival, reflection, and forward motion, documenting Wavy's 6-year journey. This comeback, Eternal White, didn't claim a victory. It simply existed as documentation of survival and growth. The album says, this is what it took. These are the scars, and this is the love that remained. Nearly 7 years, 2 eras of momentum, 2 years of silence, 3 years of reconstruction. Wavy's story is not one of overnight success or dramatic comeback. It's about endurance, about the choices made when no one's watching, and the outcome isn't guaranteed. In the broader K-pop and C-pop landscape, Wavy occupies unique space. They bridged markets during a period when that bridge was actively collapsing, maintained identity through regulatory changes that shut down similar projects. Their influence is visible in how newer groups could approach the industry. In the understanding that hiatuses don't have to be career-ending, Wavy's journey normalized struggle as part of the story, not something to hide or rebrand as triumph. The future's not uncertain anymore. Wavy is not waiting for permission or momentum. Eternal White will not be their last release. The group that debuted in 2019 no longer exists. These 6 members have been reshaped by time, pressure, separation, and choice. What remains is stronger for it. They carried their history through years of uncertainty. They returned with a renewed identity. They chose each other. Eternal White simply holds that moment of certainty, the point where the decision to continue became quiet clarity, not noise or ceremony. The choice to continue together. Wavy dared to be bold, will you?
All right, that's the end of the stream. But I'll maybe have a video tomorrow. We'll see. Like the stream, subscribe if you enjoyed other stuff like this and other, comment if you're watching the rewatch, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.
The unkillable Demon King, the first inductee into the Hall of Legends, and the greatest of all time,
Welcome to the Blizzard Arena.
And the quest for a champion begins today.
The anticipation has been building, and it is finally time. We are live.
Are you ready?
That is a really.
Can you get over the roof there?
Oh my!
Oh my! What a play! What a grab!
Another jump here on the high ground. Super goes forward, but gets stuck up. The EMP comes in, and ding! He rains down hell from above.
Here comes Pine. Gets one, gets two. Looking for a bit more, gets another one.
Tuno's down again. That heralds disaster generally for the Fusion. And Carpe wasn't far behind. Prophet! He's killed 4 players now on his own.
From Vancouver, locks him in the sound barrier. Sound the bomb coming from John. Oh my God! He does it again.
What now moving onto the Widowmaker, taking the clutch into his own hands. The headshot and the headshot and the headshot.
Okay, I like this for the Gladiators. We're going to try and circle around. I'm going to call this the merry-go-round because it makes me laugh.
Makes me happy. Sean Paul switches to the Widowmaker just at the right time. Oh, the gravy, the block.
What in the Lord's name is that?
That's so good. Oh, that's the goal.
I'm the best Trace in the world.
Oh my word!
I mean, you could have told me that you spoke English, honestly.
The fans never thought they'd see this day. It took 43 matches. Feels like a really emotional moment here.
사랑해.
Also return to Valsiel. But I will see y'all later. Bye.